How do I know when something sounds right? What should I be listening for? When we listen in our tuning process, and that probably takes up 70% of the development time of a loudspeaker, is the amount of time we spend in the listening room. And we do loads of objective measurements in our large measurement facility, but the proof of the pudding is in the listening in a loudspeaker. And the things that we try and focus on are what we call objective-subjective differences. So we try and quantify the subjective impression that we have, the localization of a sound object in the sound field, the dynamics, the bass reproduction, and all of those kind of things. And we're really critical. We're not really that interested in how it makes us feel. Actually, that is one of the parameters we use, but the main thing we're looking for is the differences between one thing and another. And personally, when I've done mixing, when you're trying to dial in that snare sound, you have to start being objective in how you're looking at that. But it's really important, because you're trying to convey a piece of artwork when you're mixing and mastering, is not to lose sight of that. And when it feels right, it feels right. And that's something that you just have to gain with experience, and just by repeated listening. I would say choose your favorite artists, find out who the producer is, who the mix engineer is, go and find what they do, and just immerse yourself in it on your system where you do your mixing. Don't do it in your hi-fi room, don't do it on your headphones, do it on the speakers that you're going to go and do your mixing. And then you'll start to understand how what they do works in your room, on your speakers, on your setup. And then when you want to be critical, start listening for those subtle differences in the way the snare reverbs, in the attack of the strings on the fingering as somebody plays a double bass. Listen for all the micro details. And generally, for us, when you get those micro details right, the big picture falls into place. And the final question, how loud should I be monitoring? How loud should I be monitoring? Well, actually, that first off depends on what territory you're in. So in Europe and the UK, there are very strict guidelines if you're doing this professionally. You can't be exposed to loud noise levels throughout the working day. So you should never be exposing yourself to those SPLs or higher over the day. The answer also depends on what you're mixing and how you're mixing. And the way I tend to approach it is I want to mix at a level that I'm comfortable at to spend 10, 12 hours mixing. Because once you really get into something, you really, really want to dig into that, and you need to be comfortable. And if you're listening loud, you'll fatigue yourself. No matter how good the monitoring system is, you'll get fatigued. So it's really important to make sure that you avoid that. And the way we approach our loudspeakers is that we try and keep them sounding similar as we can keep them sounding at all the levels we expect you to be using them at. Now, sometimes there's some constraints about, we can't beat physics, so sometimes the bass might drop off when you play really loud, but you should develop your installation to accommodate that, I would say. So mix as loud as you need to, but look after your hearing. Don't ruin your ears, because once they're gone, they don't recover, and then you'll be a deaf mix engineer. That's a bit of an oxymoron.